There is nothing like collecting monthly passive income. So today, before the market goes haywire about interest rates and what exactly the future has in store for us, I want to put 3 monthly paying dividend stocks on your radar, because the reality is, as Jerome Powell chisels away at interest rates, these 3 monthly paying dividend stocks are likely to soar to higher highs. With that, are you ready? Now, 2 key points just before we dive into today's stock picks that I personally feel are important for you to understand. 1, just because a dividend stock pays a monthly dividend, it does not make it a better investment opportunity than the quarterly payers, nor should it be the ultimate decision-making factor for you to actually invest into the stock. A matter of fact, I'd argue that it's actually a giant red flag, because typically monthly paying dividend stocks actually struggle much more to continuously shell out monthly dividends at attractive yields. So have that in mind as we go. But the second key point that I want to tap into deals in interest rates and why exactly I'm so bullish on the stocks that I'm about to mention. So first off, I'm sure I don't need to go into great detail here about Jerome Powell slashing interest rates. Now, if you didn't already know that that's the plan or what exactly is going on a macro level, I want you to go ahead and join me right now by subscribing to the channel, because I am constantly talking about our macros. But in short, higher interest rates have kept businesses on a budget, likewise with consumers. So now throw in inflation there, and it's just been eating away at the value of the dollar, and we get a recipe for pressurization, which means lackluster earnings across the board for businesses and depressed stock share prices. Of course, when the opposite is true and rates come down, well, what do you know? We have spending increases and the economy is stimulated like it's the 1980s all over again. Now, not all stocks are treated equally during these periods of lower rates. Tech does insanely well, but monthly dividend stocks aren't found in that sector. So if you're looking for monthly passive income, you have to look at, say, real estate or lending companies, which leads me to the first monthly payer. It is every dividend investor's go-to pick, Realty Income, ticker symbol O. Now, Realty Income is actually the only monthly paying dividend stock in my portfolio, and one that I truly stand by, and I will be standing by for the long term, especially given I understand the industry well, having worked in it. I absolutely love what I see when it comes to Realty Income, dividends aside. But if we click into their website, we can go ahead and scroll over to their portfolio, scroll down here to see that Realty Income has been able to amass a portfolio of over 15,000 properties, which is no easy feat, but those properties stretch far outside the United States as well for a global footprint in the making. And within those properties, Realty Income has over 1,500 clients and maintains an above average 98% occupancy rating. That all just means that they rarely have vacant, unleased properties, and most of them are just income producing machines month after month. Now, with clients like Home Depot and Walmart down to the smaller scale 7-Elevens and CVS's of the world, there's a ton of stability in terms of collecting that rent, which is why we can actually see a beautiful income statement, whereas revenue just continues to climb. And thanks to their management team, we also have an ultra safe and clean balance sheet, whereas year over year we're seeing assets that are far exceeding their total liabilities, which is what you want to see. And if we jump up to their stock chart, we actually have here a green year, up by nearly 7%, trading for $62 per share. But clicking to the 5-year view, we can see the damage of our economic environment as the stock remains down in the red by over 14%. But I truly believe that when rate cuts hit, Realty Income as a real estate business is going to get back to doing what it does best, acquiring and leasing out properties, which all requires capital in order to continue to climb, and of course easier leasing or lending terms. Now, with all of that being said, it's all about the dividend here, the monthly dividend, one of the safest monthly paying dividend stocks rated by Simply Safe Dividends, coming in with a strong safety score of an 80, a dividend yield sitting at 5.06%, while keeping true to a 55-year track record without dividend reductions, and steadily climbing year over year as a dividend growth rate is coming in at 5%. But if you want to stray away from real estate, we could talk about Main Street Capital, ticker symbol MAIN, which is a business development company, or BDC as we call them, and BDCs provide debt and equity capital to relatively small yet highly levered companies that can't access the traditional financing from larger banking institutions. Now, you could imagine over the last year, small businesses have really been struggling and actually needed financing. So Main Street was literally the Main Street supplier of funding for these companies that are out there, which translated into a soaring share price. We could see up on the year here by 14%. And as the story really has hasn't changed over the last few years, we can click back to the 5-year view and just see yet again more greenery, up by 12%. Because small businesses are not going to go anywhere, yet remain the American dream, we'll click to the max view here and just see a beautiful trajectory of appreciation worth over 232%. And better yet, the health of the company checks out. We can scroll down to see that their annual income, which reflects revenue growth year over year in the billions, while the management team also has shored up its balance sheet, keeping assets, again, high and their liabilities nice and low. Now, with Main Street Capital, given the nature of the business, we're going to see that it's going to rate and Simply Safe dividends with a little bit lower of a safety score, but it's got one heck of a dividend coming in at 5.9%, while the company remains on a dividend track record already over the last 16 years and continuing to grow here a little bit slower, but 4% in terms of dividend growth. But keep in mind, monthly paying dividend stocks can't necessarily grow the dividend as fast as some of the quarterly paying competitors. Again, just something to think about. But then we have Agree Realty, ticker symbol ADC, which is actually the one stock on today's shortlist that I'm confident in, but I don't really love where that share price is. However, very similar to Realty Income, yet a much smaller net lease solutions player in the real estate industry, coming in with just 2,200 properties or so, and only more recently building a name for itself, but moat-worthy to say the least, with their shared clients with Realty Income like Home Depot, Walmart, CVS, O'Reilly Auto Parts, and all the alike. But investment-wise, Agree Realty has an ultra-clean income year over year, of course, not in the billions like Realty Income, but nonetheless very promising in terms of revenue generation, while their balance sheet is also squeaky clean. All things you want to find in a company like this. Yet, this is where Agree Realty is actually just going bananas. Year to date here, we're up almost 20%, trading for $75 per share, to which I think many investors saw this as a second Realty Income type of opportunity to tap into earlier rather than later. But clicking to the 5-year, we see how young and how volatile it has been despite maintaining the cleanliness of their financials. Now, dividend-wise, it does boast a nice 3.95% dividend yield while maintaining a 12-year track record without reduction and growing nice and slowly here by just 2% year over year. Now, investors, there you have them, the monthly paying dividend stocks to enjoy for passive income on a monthly basis. But now I want to know which dividend stocks you're actually invested into or most bullish on. Do you think it's even worth the hype to get into dividend paying stocks that pay monthly, or just stick to the quarterly payers? Comment down below to let me know. Subscribe if you haven't already joined me here on the journey. And moreover, click right here, right now for more insights.